All things, I'm going to make some silver fume tubing. Why not? And if somebody wants to complain about that, that's their problem. I also have some marbles to do and a couple other things. But right now, we're going to make it from scratch. Yes, I've done it recently, but it's worth repeating, in my opinion. Always worth repeating. Let's zoom in just a little bit more. And what I'm going to do, I did this before and I'm doing it again, is I'm going to put a blue line at the edge of where I started. Okay? And that'll just sort of say this is where everything after this point going in this direction is glass that was added and made into tubing. Gotcha? With me so far? Okay, here we go. It's going to be silver fume, so it can have a lot of I wouldn't say a lot of contamination, but it can have imperfections in it. Okay, right now I'm going to just add a big blob. Turns out it wasn't sealed properly. But right there, starting at the line, there we go. Blew that out. Yes, I have a blow hose in my mouth that I'll be blowing into it continuously without too much trouble. Okay, now we're going to add some more. 2 people watching, yay! Now I'm going to add, again, another big blob. I'm going to try to do this where I'm adding and blowing at the same time. But you got to do it gently. You don't want it to blow out the sides. This is unbelievable. I had in my mind a note to search for you today, DIY tubing and bloom. Oh yeah. No comment. I tend to do things like that. But I had done this before. And I am going to get a little bit closer here. Hold on. Okay. And it's basically, again, I have a blow hose and swivel on this end. Now you can't see it because my hand's in the way. There you go. See that? And as it spins, keeps it out of the way. But you're basically blowing in like a long-distance bubblegum bubble. But you're not trying to blow it hard and fast. You're trying to keep consistency on the sidewalls. And you see, I'm not doing that in the flame continuously either. I'm taking it out, letting it cool slightly so it's got a little bit more surface tension or surface, and then blowing. And I don't need much more for what I'm going to do. There you go. That's it. Not going to add any more. At this moment, anyway. And that's pretty consistent. It's still a little bumpy here and there. And you can take and put it on your L marker. And you can see I got one right here too. And smooth it all down if you want to, but I'm still going to be adding to it, so it's not as important yet. Okay. Now, we're going to layer silver into this. little bit by little bit. And each layer of silver is gonna, if you get into learning to strike the silver, and this is gentle. There you go, see there? Okay. Now we're going to add some more, what I call texture, and layer more on top of this. Why? Because I can. If you have questions while I'm working, feel free, just ask. I might not answer, but feel free. Right now, all I'm using is one 10 liter per minute concentrator. And this is just, again, adding texture to the silver. And I'm going to add more glass and more clear, and even encase it after the fact. The steaming works the same on soft glass. I am not 100% sure, but I'd have to say fuming should and would work on some soft glass. I don't know about the actual layering it and getting it hot enough to do other things like I'm doing with the boro right now. But it should work to an extent. I know it works really well in boro. So that's what I'm using. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've got a couple of videos on YouTube that I just did recently on this same subject. This one was a little bit different. And what I'm doing now is going between two ridges and just adding the lines. And that again will add texture. To what's going to happen. Little bit by little bit. And now after I do this step, I'll fume it again. I've heard it sticks better and stays on the surface of boro, but it apparently gets into the soft glass. Well, that's what I'm doing. This is going to be layered in anyway with the silver. But yeah, it does stick. Also, if you're trying to fume gold in the boro, it is best to add a thin layer of silver first to give it a surface for the gold to stick to, because gold doesn't stick as well on just boro by itself. Okay, now it's back to adding more silver. A la peanut butter sandwiches. Where is it? So there it is. Now I also found that if you have no oxygen on the outside ring, or one single source of oxygen and one single source of propane, to me, as you can see, gets results. Boom. Okay? Okay. Now we're gonna, hey Walter, good to see you show up. We're gonna go ahead and add more clear glass and encase this whole little deal here. Yeah, we'll use this one. Dang it. A little bit of blue on the end we're going to try to get rid of first. Now this is going to add air lines all over the place, the way I do this. But you will see the way I also, this is sort of like a poor man's way of back stacking too, the way I do this, encasing stuff. Layering it in gently. And what I'm doing is I'm heating up the rod of glass that I'm adding to the tubing, not the tubing itself when I'm doing this. I call this side the paper and this side the pencil. And I always add to the paper with the pencil. And you're trying to heat up the pencil to add to the paper, not the reverse of that. And if you're left-handed, you'll want to do the reverse of what I'm doing. Right, right, right. .420's coming up, and I'm thinking about making a pipe. Any suggestions on what animal or figurine that you would like to see made into a pipe? And I will try to do it that day, and I'll put it up on all my media, even do a faster version of it. I've been doing those on a lot of my videos, is where I speed them up. A bear. Okay, I can do that. I can do elephants as well. And a little bit of everything, but yeah, I can do a bear. Bear pipe. Again, I'm taking my time. All I'm using right now is my 10 liter per minute concentrator. I could add another 10 liter per minute concentrator to this mix and make it work a little bit faster, but I'm being lazy tonight. Actually, I'm not being lazy. I'm working harder. Right, right, right. Slowly adding. Line for line. Bringing it all around. And I'm almost there. I think this is the last one that I need to do. And you can usually tell if you've got it all encased in that the orange glow on the where it has more silver, it works brighter. I guess you can say. I can't explain it, but it works. Okay, I'll see about making a bear. Now, pick it up a notch. I'm going to start here at the top. Now we're going to blow all of this stuff up and in and out a couple of times. And yes, this is going to cause a few air bubbles. But if you do it slowly enough and start at the top and work your way down, there won't be as many air bubbles as you think. You can see me blowing it out, making the wall thinner, and that's okay because I'll collapse it back later. You can see the streaks of silver in there. It should turn out pretty cool. Okay, I'm marving that down. Blowing it out a little bit and then collapsing it. As you can see, there's not that many air lines or bubbles in there, even after I layered it like I did. It takes practice. I don't expect you to do it the first time right, or the second. But the smaller you start with, in other words, you saw that I started with 1 inch, and look, it's already close to 2 to 3 inches. So the smaller you start with, so if you go like a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch and just play with it, and then you can add more and add more and add more. You know, make it out into a big bead to begin with or something, who knows. The idea is to control what you got. If it's too big, go smaller. Until you can control what you got. And then once you get it good at smaller, then you can go bigger. Consider it like baby steps. The baby just didn't come out and start doing a 20-mile marathon the first day. Although the parents might think it feels like that. Always wobbly steps to begin with. And then it gains more control and more control. And keeps her going. Right down there at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I can. A darker line. And that's where that blue line was. And everything after that point was made from scratch tonight, right here. Well, not, well, you know what I mean. And there you go. Now, sort of the fun begins. I'm going to try to strike some of the silver color into it. As it cools, it will strike in there anyway. Let's see if we got it on this side. Actually, here, let's do this. There we go. I've got a didymium lens over the camera lens itself, and then the other didymium lens. Yeah, you got blues and greens and different nice hues going on. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, now I'm going to tilt it out a little bit. This is where you get striking color scent. Push it up a little bit. And then come back down a little bit. I'm still not I'm still not perfect at what doing this, but I do get some nice results. I'll show you actually some of those tubing behind me over here. I'll show you some of them to give you an idea of what you can colors and stuff. Well, I'm going to set this one down, and then I'm going to show you some of these other tubings. Okay. I'm going to set that down, let that cool a little bit, and see what it looks like in a little while. Now, let me show you some of the other tries. This is some silver film done basically the same way I did that one, but in this one I just left it straight and lines, but on this one I actually twisted it a little bit and then blew it. In other words, that same line structure that I had on this one, which you can probably still see straight lines going, well, striations of lines. In this one, the striations coil around, and that's when I twisted it this way and then pulled it out. Let me see if I got another one. This one's more yellow hues of silver. And this one, basically looking clear, but you can still see it all depends on how much silver I put into it at the time and how much striking. And I still am not 100% at how to strike. And once I get that down, stand back, people. This stuff will look fabulous. All of these that aren't, these are sort of like pre-struck from an oven. And in an oven, you can get it up to right temperatures where you can heat it up, cool it down, heat it up, cool it down, heat it up and cool it down. And that's where the silver crystalline structure comes out a little bit better. And again, on this one, you can see blue hues. It's not perfect. But that's that. As always, I'm going to call it quits for right now. Thanks for being out there, guys. Carpe Vitro. And if you have any suggestions on further shows or whatever, send me some information. Thanks, Elise, excuse me. And as always, Carpe Vitro, and enjoy your